We win the award for the dumb tonight. Starting over.
Okay, so we were having an issue where we couldn't see the chat and you guys couldn't hear us. So you didn't know we couldn't see you.
And we didn't know you couldn't hear us.
But I fixed it.
Yay! So let me just start over with my little spiel. This painting I designed in around 2013 for our live studio that we had over in Portland called Gogh. And at the time...
Just real quick, we literally forgot to just turn our microphones on.
Yeah, like we have the dumb tonight, literally. Anyway, this was really fun because I ended up getting a ton of likes that night on our Facebook page. And we were new to the world, so it was really cool to see like something like 200 likes come in on one night. And I was like, oh my gosh, that means we've made it. But what I was showing a minute ago is I have changed up the colors with this before. I taught this one last weekend to a live class, and I thought, you know what, my palette knives people would love this painting too. And I know some of you guys who are local have done it before, and we're gonna just play with it. And you can change colors. I've done this with turquoise flowers. I've done it with all kinds of different flower colors. I taught it to kids and we did rainbow flowers. It was really fun. It's very easy. It's very whimsical. There's different choices you can make along the way. So let's get going now that we have microphones. Let's have a look. These are the colors I'm using, but this is not the end all. Like you can switch out your colors, like I said. The background on it is very neutral. You can make a non-neutral background if you want. So we have white and black. We have yellow ochre or raw sienna. And this is raw umber, but you could also use burnt umber. Or you could use even burnt sienna. Or if you don't have any brown, you can mix a little black with that. And then, of course, the bright red for the flowers. So,
yay! It's been a while since I've painted this one.
Did you ever paint it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I've taught it before.
So I unpackaged myself a whole new pack of brushes tonight because some of mine were getting a little frayed.
A little junky.
And I like them to be just when they're slightly frayed. So let's pick up the biggest brush to start.
Sounds good.
You just need a handful of different brush sizes. And go ahead and dip it in your water cup.
I swear, one of these days
Swish it across the bottom.
Finally going to make our move to home.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, I could use your help. Just going to lay that out there.
So dry your brush off, and we're going to make a really pale, I just called it like a bone color. So it's just a dot of this. You can scrape off a little, plop it down, and then a lot of white. So it's really pale, pale beige, or like I said, kind of an ivory bone color. Just tinted. Go. And right up here in the upper left, I'm going to draw sort of like the size of a large grapefruit. And that's going to be the moon. And I just try to make sure it's circular.
Ish.
Oh, hi, Connie. Thank you. Good to see you. All right. So yeah, it can be even lighter than this if you want, or it can be more of the beige color. Up to you. So fill that in. As we work around this and start adding dark colors in, it kind of takes on sort of a tunnel look. So you can see that's kind of looks like a tunnel. And it'll get kind of stripy. I'll show you how to smooth out some of the stripes, although don't really worry about too much because having some stripes in the background is also kind of cool with this painting. But yeah, your moon is going to start getting a little smaller as we start bringing the dark colors in. It's just natural, and we'll probably go back and make it a little bigger. So we are going to gradually, as we get away from the moonlight, it's going to get darker and darker. So it's going to be still pretty light around the moon. So let's grab some more of this yellow ochre or raw sienna. And I'm just going to encircle moon overlapping the wet paint and the dry canvas here. Get a little bit of both. What are you doing?
I don't know, but we'll find out. I just am like So you know how I like to kind of see if I can envision it slightly different, and it's nothing personal. It's just me challenging myself.
Okay, so what I want to do now is smooth out. Like a lot of times I'll just wipe my brush off if I have a lot of paint on it, or you can wash it if you want. But I use just the slightly damp brush and smooth out the seam where the light becomes the dark. And then you can see, look how that turned into kind of a cool gradient fade. Make more paint.
Do you need to make more paint or just mix more?
Yeah, let me drop the right color. And then I want to start bringing a little of the raw umber in there. So just a dot. It's going to darken up really fast. So you can see that little dot hanging out on my brush. So what the color we're aiming for right now is latte.
Ooh, that
All
sounds
know
good.
what those look like. You can add a little more of this gold raw sienna or yellow ochre in there.
It almost felt like we talked about it in the car on the way over here. It kind of felt like a latte night.
Yeah.
But
So this is kind of a caramel or latte color.
We did not go that direction, but...
Nope, we stopped and got our weird Mountain Dew Blast, or you got like a monster.
I got a monster, the beast.
So see, as I'm going around this, I'm letting my brush run out of paint. You can come out wide into the background, and even like that's you're wiping your brush, the paint off your brush. And then I just come back in to eliminate any of these hard edges. I'm just going to use my mostly clean brush and go over the seam where the light meets the dark. And you have to do it while both colors are wet. Just a fun little blending thing. Now, one of the things that I noticed when I've taught this over and over is we have a tendency, if you haven't painted a lot, to use short little choppy brush strokes like this.
Oh, that's
and
what I'm
you can
doing.
see what that does. It leaves little marks. And for this painting, unless you're doing a rough background, you want to smooth those out. So I use really long end-to-end brush strokes. Like, have you ever seen people make crepes?
Yeah.
In like a food cart, and they use that comb thing? Or LPs are made that way, I think. Records?
We have started getting into collecting records. Set up our listening room.
I think we talked about that before.
Maybe. But
So
we
now
finally got the speakers set up properly. And
I'm going to add just a little more raw umber or whatever, burnt umber, whatever brown you're using, and some more gold. We want to just aim for a darker caramel color or caramel. I don't know how do people say it? Is it caramel or caramel? Caramel.
I don't know.
The caramel makes me think of like Carmel, California.
I think technically it's pronounced caramel.
Caramel.
But it's one of those things. I saw this like TikTok meme or something, you know, it was either TikTok or Instagram or something like that, and it was three girls. One was from the United States, one was from South Africa, and one was from the UK, and they were each reading the same word.
That's fun.
And it's like vitamin was vitamin. Basil.
I saw something similar to that. It was a couple Finnish people pronouncing English words, and in Finland they pronounce J's as Y's. So they saw the word ninja, which obviously is Japanese, but they pronounce it ninja. That was cute. Okay, bringing more yellow ochre, more raw umber. Ooh, yeah, that's dark. I'm going to bring in a little more white and maybe a little more of this. I do want it darker, but I guess I could have gone a little bit darker.
I saw a lady.
I'm being color shy tonight, I guess.
Saw a lady who was down at Cannon Beach, and she went to some bakery there and got their world famous ham, cheddar, and jalapeno croissant. And
that
it was like
amazing.
it was one of those things where the way she said jalapeno, you realize that was not something she forced. That's just the way she pronounces jalapeno.
I'm going to run my brush out of paint by just brushing into the background. It gets covered up anyway, and then I'll use my mostly clean brush, and look at this. It's like magic, just sweeping right over the hard seam where the lighter and the darker color meet. It's like magic. Love it. So those of you who've painted with us for a while, if you ever did the painting called, gosh, what was it called? The Watcher, I think?
You know what? Okay, wait, hold on. Before we get going,
You were such an interrupter.
because we are using this color palette, we are doing umbrellas on a bridge next week.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
So it was called The Watcher, I think. It had a crow
Oh,
sitting
yeah.
on a pumpkin.
Mhm.
This we did this same sky in that, I think. Pretty sure. We might not have done the rounded brush stroke. It might have been more of a choppy sky. All right, before this dries, I need to bring in more dark. More dark. So a lot more brown here. Now this is where I'm going to show you that if you want to, you can add a touch of red. I'm going to go easy at first. Let's see what that looks like. Oh yeah, that's a big change up. But look at that, pretty, makes it almost kind of burgundy, kind of dusty mauve.
Mauve. Definitely
Dusty
mauve.
mauve. At any time in this painting, I can go back to the light color. I've done it so many times. So let's say, this time I want to wash my brush. I'm going to show you how I would go back to a lighter color. I'm going to mix this color again, which was white and yellow ochre. And I'm going to throw a tiny bit of red in there, so it's going to be kind of a pink. And look at that. That is so fun. And I just bring it back into that other color so they kind of mix together. This is so totally optional. You can just keep going to dark and dark and dark. But I do like to show this because I think it's important for you guys to realize that you can just step right out of the box and be creative. You don't always have to do everything exactly as it is shown. Unless you want to, but you don't always have to. Let's have a look at that other, the one I taught last weekend. So see there, it's got the pink in it. Easel. Oh, the desk. So this is a very, very dusty pink because of the brown that's already in there. And now I can go back to dark colors because we are moving far away from the moonlight. I'm going to add a little water to my paint because I had to use a different brown. I had to use a Blick, it was one of their higher end acrylics.
Oh.
So it's a lot thicker, which is nice sometimes. So I mainly just have black and brown, and I just mixed it in some of this color earlier that I had just mixed, so it's got some shreds of pink in it too.
I'm just going to be that guy and be like, you know what? Anytime you're using a thicker paint, it's probably better because you can always thin it down.
Yeah. So here you might have a really hard edge like I've got right there. And in that case, because I'm using such a dark color and it's against such a light color, my choice would be to wash my brush and dry it off really good. Like you might literally fold your paper towel over it and squeeze. And then I would just use that brush and really softly, very little pressure, just smooth out. Don't be afraid to paint into the other color. All right, getting darker now. I'm going to add a little more black in here, a little more brown, and what the heck, I'll throw some red in there. Very dark. Like that a lot.
Like it a lot.
Like it a lot. I do like the dramatics of having it go from light to dark so fast. I remember at the time that I made this, a bunch of other studios like literally copied it stroke for stroke. And I was so mad because I was like, I sat down and made that out of my brain. And you just found it on the internet.
It was kind of like your Santa painting that was all over Pinterest.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I ended up on a like 20 easy Christmas paintings you can do this holiday. And I wanted to write to the blogger who made it and be like, that Santa painting was not easy. Because it really wasn't. It was a extremely time consuming and a lot of detail on the face, even though it was very cartoony.
That, and it's my property.
Yeah. Well, I think that it had a link to our website, so I don't care about that.
Okay.
That's free advertising.
Yeah.
All right, I'm washing my brush. I'll let you guys catch up if you're painting. Raise your hand if you're painting tonight. I know some of you are. Marlene, you usually do. Sid, are you painting tonight? I want to know. And Connie, let's see. Maybe. Oh, Connie, I think you were just popping in for a little bit. Kind of warm in here. You could probably turn the heat off.
I could.
We both have hoodies on, so.
Jenny got the most awesomest hoodie from our neighbors, the coffee shop.
I did. I went in with Paul when I came into work for him for a little bit the other day. And there's the coffee shop around the corner. So one of our things is we always walk up to the coffee shop. And they had these hoodies hanging up that were really cute. Mine's green. You can see that. I love that green color. But I wasn't so much attracted to the design of it, but I went over and felt it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this feels, it's like as soft as butter. And it's kind of one of those hoodies that's sort of thin. So you can like wear it without getting overly hot. And so I was like, Paul, will you buy that for me?
You know what? They do a pretty good job though with like their swag.
Yeah, the design is cute. It has some like fun stuff on the back, like a little camper, and I don't even remember.
They're called Caravan Coffee, and there's, what do they say? A life more traveled or something is their slogan or something. And
nice. Marlene's the painter tonight. Cheers to you, and cheers to all the others watching.
I've started to befriend the owner of the coffee shop.
Nice. Okay. So now what I'm going to do just for fun is show you what I showed my students last weekend. Is you can take any color that's in here. I'm just going to go with white and raw sienna. Maybe tuck in a little of this brown color just to make that kind of latte color. And I use the thin edge of my brush. And you can do these fun little thin stripes if you want that just kind of look like maybe light rays. It's a great way to break up the mass if you feel like it's a little too stripey and you don't really, it's dried too much for you to go back and blend. I could do some of these in pink. I'm really bad about washing my brush between. Oh, that's really pink. Well, I'll go for it. Yeah, on here it actually doesn't look as pink. So if you've ever seen like an up-close picture of Saturn's rings, that's kind of what that reminds me of a little bit. And you could do this, and if you really hate the way it looks on your canvas, you could go back and clean your brush and just use the flat end and just smooth everything out. But I think this is kind of a cool effect. Okay, I guess we're doing that too. I didn't realize I had some dark on my brush hanging out with the pink.
It happens.
So I'm just going to make friends with that.
Hello, friend.
Universe was telling me. I've been trying to rely on that lately, like where, you know, you say the universe is, let the universe tell you what to do. And I'm just like, okay, let's do it. Tell me what to do, because sometimes I feel I need that.
Sometimes we all just need to let go a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, Paul and I actually stepped away from our nonprofit this week, and that was one of those things where
Well,
it's like,
kind of.
yeah, we kind of step back because it was really sucking up a lot of time, and it's kind of like the more you, I hate to say it because I know this happens a lot in nonprofits, but it's like the more you give, the more that's expected. And we were definitely experiencing that and had to kind of step back and be like, wait a minute. is this really like what I want to do at 50 years old? And
No.
like, if I was retired and had loads of money, maybe. But no, it was just sucking up a lot of time.
We should rephrase that and say we're stepping away from the management side of it.
Yeah, we'll still be involved with some of the theater stuff.
Yeah, I really enjoyed doing the Shakespeare.
We're still involved with Shakespeare. We're both in Shakespeare Club.
Yeah.
But it's been feeling really good, and it was one of those things where I kept going back and forth. Like, maybe I'll just wait a little while. Maybe it will get better. Maybe we'll find some more people to help. And just one morning I woke up on, I think it's Sunday, and I was like, no, I'm not going to do it anymore.
You're being very kind.
There was a little...
There's been some drama going on.
There's been some drama, a little workplace bullying and stuff, which is so stupid because it's a nonprofit. I don't want to bash them online, but maybe I do. We're members
It's
only.
private.
I can tell you guys
it's
everything.
members only. Say what
there
you
was
want.
drama. I was nicer than I could have been. Let's just say that. Way nicer than I could have been. Because I'm the type who I don't like to torch bridges. And
You're not a divider.
I also know that I tend to be a people pleaser. And I'm just buying time right now. So that's why I'm chatting.
Jenny is oversharing now. Hold on.
Letting this dry.
Back it up.
No, I am a people pleaser, and I've been watching a lot of TikToks actually and different videos on how to stop being a people pleaser because, you know, at 50 and you realize you're just like letting everybody else's get. How do I word it? I felt like I was.
You're putting other people's dreams and priorities ahead of your own.
Yeah, I was watching my own dreams sort of fly by while helping someone else get theirs for free. So, feeling good. Feeling good now. Listen to the universe. All right. I am wanting this to dry just a little bit. I think it's pretty close. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we are going to add the starlit part of Starlit Blooms. So that would be all these stars.
Shit. I forgot about the stars.
You have clouds in yours.
I do.
Yours could be
moonlit
orbs. You could do moonlit beams and do some beams.
I'll figure something out.
So yeah, here's this one had less than this one. This is the one I taught live, so that tends to happen. And also they're a lot bigger. That also tends to happen when teaching a live class. You guys have done this with me before, the little fuzzy stars with the dot in the middle, and then we have lots of different single dot stars throughout. Because I've got a little bit of wet canvas, I'm going to start with just the dot stars and make sure I leave room for some of the fuzzy ones. In the very, very original from 2012, there are tons and tons of the fuzzy ones, and it's really cute. Okay. But I just dip the handle of the little brush in and come right up close to the moon. Nice and dry there. Yeah, last week I had to wait a really long time because people kept working on their backgrounds. And I would walk around and be like, okay, let's take a break. Okay, Paul's ready to refill beverages in the bar. Okay. Stop touching our canvas. It was pretty funny.
Actually, I was painting a set.
You were, that's right. You were painting bricks.
Because we were working in the theater space, and we've got a production opening in a couple weeks, and we're not acting in it, nor are we heavily involved in it.
We're the art department.
Well, I'm a little bit more than that, but
You tech.
I get to design the lighting.
So I'm going to do a fuzzy star now. Just plant it down, maybe in the light area to start if you haven't done this before. Little dot. And then you want to use the lightest pressure possible. I've told people before that imagine your canvas is a sleeping cat and you don't want to wake it up. So you are doing the lightest pressure possible while making concentric circles that get bigger and bigger And I use one of my non-dominant fingers. And occasionally you might get one that's funky shaped. Like that one's kind of funky shaped. It's not a perfect circle. So non-dominant fingers, you could use like your ring finger, your middle finger. I don't know. Maybe you use your middle finger a lot. But if you're getting out here and some of your smudgy ones are turning sort of brown, that means you need to let this dry a little more. Like mine was doing it a little bit right there, but I can see my canvas is pretty dry through here. Today is the first day of spring, isn't it? Spring equinox?
Is it?
I think so.
Or is it
We
tomorrow?
have had so much rain that our backyard is totally flooded. And it's funny because it's always days like today where our one dog wants to just keep going out. I swear.
It was yesterday.
Oh, really? Crazy.
Well, I mean, it was technically Thursday at 3 a.m.
Okay. Well, he loves the rain, I guess. And goes out and he gets fully wet, muddy paws, all that fun stuff. And I was like, are you crazy? He's not going out to go to the bathroom. He's just going out to do whatever. What if Daniel will be in?
He will not tonight.
Oh, okay.
I checked with him. He's working till like 9.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm getting a little bit of a cold, which sucks. I feel like I went so long without getting sick, and then in the last like 3 years, it's been boom, 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 boom. But you know, we really did during COVID. We didn't really go out a lot. We kind of stuck with what we were supposed to do, and so our immune systems were like, oh, given a break.
Yeah, you were a bit like a buzzsaw last night. You did not sleep well. I will tell you that.
Which means you did not sleep well.
Not at all, but I'm not blaming you.
No, Paul has a herniated disc.
Oh no, I didn't sleep well because of your snoring last night, but but I also recognize that it was because you're not breathing terribly well, so I'm not blaming you for that. That would be pretty rude.
Maybe this alcohol will help.
I think we need more.
Are you kidding me? These are so giant. I think I've only gotten like maybe a quarter of it.
I'm not sure I like this one.
Oh, I want to try. Oh wait, no, I'm getting a cold.
I mean, it's all right. It's a little coconutty for me.
Oh, interesting.
I'm not a big coconut fan. But I mean, I like pina coladas. But I like Mai Tais. What's you guys' favorite cocktail?
Yeah. What's yours, Paul? Mai Tai, huh?
Mai Tai, 100%.
That's so funny. Is it because it reminds you of being in Hawaii?
I think so.
Yeah, there is that. So if you notice, I'm sparkling a lot of stars all throughout the smudgy ones. I just love that. Like, I'll go back and forth between doing both. Because sometimes I get a little bored of doing the smudgy ones, or I want to see how twinkly it's looking. But adding all the little ones around in between makes it look very sparkly. I'm trying to think what my favorite cocktail is. Not a margarita.
I'm going to go anti-typical man drink, and I'm going to say I much prefer a Manhattan over an old-fashioned. Similar drinks.
I like mojitos a lot, but I don't know if it's my favorite. I don't really have a favorite.
Come on.
Like, I don't really love margaritas. I think they're a little too citrusy for me.
I like margaritas made with good tequila.
Yeah. I used to really like Midori sours, but I think they're a little too sweet. It's just kind of a fun drink to have because it's one you just don't see very often. And they're so green and colorful, and it's like melon liqueur, a little sweet and sour, and I think it has like a dash of soda or Sprite.
Gin or vodka? martini.
Sid for the martinis. Are you an olive person too?
I'm actually finding I like gin a lot.
Oh my gosh, yeah, we got some gin and we did. It was what is the name
Empress.
of it? Empress gin. So it's
Mhm.
blue.
Well, it's their. Yeah, they have other colors.
All
but
the olives, yes. And we did a drink that had lemon juice and Empress gin,
and club soda.
club soda, and lavender uh, simple syrup that we made because we always have lavender simple syrup in the house because Greta likes it in coffee. But they were so good. Oh my gosh, they're so good, and I could see it with a sugared rim. Ugh, that was a really good drink.
And Greta made them for us.
Greta made them for us. The underage bartender.
You know what? I think every family has that underage bartender. Our family did not because there was no drinking in our household when I was growing up. Sid will vouch for me on this. But
Remember, your mom got spiked at a school dance once, and so she swore she'd never drink again. Do you remember how she ever told you that?
Oh yeah, trust me.
That's what
we
she
grew up with that story.
That's why she always said, I'll never drink after that. It was the most horrible experience.
Wasn't it Terry's 50th birthday that she got pretty sloshed?
It was Thanksgiving.
No.
Oh, was it? Okay, yeah.
It was. I think it was. Was it Bart? Bart that kept topping off her wine glass
Wait,
for her.
so that would have been over 10 years ago.
It was at Terry's house.
Maybe it was her 55th. Don't know.
Maybe it was her. No, it wasn't her 60th.
Marlene likes anything with vodka. Nice. Yeah, vodka's a nice mixer, I will say.
So I'm gonna just go out and just be like, we tried something kind of weird. We have one of our children is a little interested in experimenting with tasting some of the alcohols, and we've never been opposed to letting them try it. And it's like I'd rather them do that than go experiment with their friends in a field in the back of a pickup truck or something. And had asked about Jägermeister, so I went and got Jägermeister. And discovered that Jägermeister and root beer is really good.
That is so weird.
It was so good. Did you try it?
No, I wouldn't. Jägermeister, the thought of it is, no way.
It was really good.
I wouldn't even taste it.
It was really good with the root beer.
Although it does have a cool bottle, I will say that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw this thing on TikTok that I guess if you strain out the gold flakes from Goldschlager, there's enough gold flakes that if you take that gold into a pawn shop, you can buy another bottle of Goldschlager.
That's pretty funny.
I don't know if it's true, you know. It's a TikTok thing, so who knows?
So at this point, this painting could be all kinds of things. It was so popular in the studio that one year I made the face Jack Skellington, and then for the black, we didn't do flowers. We made kind of thorny bushes that came up and just came under his face. So Jack Skellington wears this tuxedo thing that has this big long collar. So the thorn things were kind of taking the place of that. It was the coolest painting. So right here, you could turn it. Around when it gets time for Halloween again, you can absolutely go back and do this video. Google a picture of Jack Skellington's face, paint it on the moon, and then just make some twisty, curvy thorns. Maybe I will have to do that for Thanksgiving, for Halloween. How many months do we have? We have 200 and, let's see, Hayden tells us, 270 some days.
Something like that.
Okay. I'm ready to move on. Are you ready to move on?
I'm just creating almost like this Renaissance era, like Jesus is about to pop out on a surfboard cloud here and bless us all. Doesn't it kind of look like that?
Please, we need it.
It kind of looks like that.
Got a fuzz.
Who bling blinged you?
It was a software update.
Oh.
Sound was on. Wait. I just said. Uh, neighbor's fire alarm is going off, and Hachi is petrified.
Oh my gosh, yeah, our dog.
It's been going off for 10 minutes.
He is terrified of the sound of fire alarms.
Poor buddy. Okay. So let's remove this long. They've got this long, like 2-inch long white fuzz. It looks like a dog hair from our long-haired Shiba. Probably came in on my sweater.
Our dogs got into a little scuffle over some peanut butter yesterday, and Jenny and Greta gave them some. Was it called trazodone?
Trazodone.
Just to get them to chill out a bit.
No, that wasn't why. It's because we had some wounds to treat, and if you try to treat them,
you don't need to overshare.
Well, yeah, one bit the other. Yeah. It was just a little puncture.
It was like an accidental bite, really, was what it was. But then we decided, hey, they need to calm down, and we need to get some nails trimmed and a couple fur balls trimmed. And Jenny got our younger dog, the one with the long hair, went out in the backyard, and Jenny sent me all these pictures that were like, there's that song that I see like people post on Instagram and TikTok, because I got high, and I was like, the dog she looked so stoned, just like in heaven.
But she wasn't. That's the crazy thing. The trazodone did not affect her at all. We tried to trim her fur mats from behind her ears, and she was every bit as feisty and screamy as usual.
So if you ever want to get a Shiba Inu,
don't.
reach out to us, and we will give you the full rundown. We have now had Shiba Inus for 18 years.
But we've decided
actually
these are our last Shibas. We decided our next dog is going to be some easy thing like a collie.
I think we got Suki right around this time, 19 years ago. So we have had Shiba Inus for 19 years, and we can give you quite the rundown on what it's really like.
Yes. Okay, so now I'm going to start the base work of the blooms. So they are, I thought of it being like, this is how I describe it when I teach it live. It's like a vase of flowers. So it's going to be really narrow down here, like it's inside a glass vase, and come out and up, and everything is going to sort of split off each other. And we're going to start with a bigger brush, and then as we so we'll do them, that come up maybe to about here, and then we'll come in with the smaller brush to make some of the little delicate branches and stuff.
What kind of flowers are these, Jenny?
I don't know. They are non-existent. Okay. They're hybrid.
That's fine.
So I'm using my number 8 brush, but I'm going to turn it and use the thin edge. So that way I'll get a nice razor thin line. And I want to thin out my black paint. So I'll scrape some off to the side and add quite a lot of water to mine, because I'm using the Daler paint here, which is very thick and probably getting old too. But I like to thin it out to the consistency of like heavy cream, so it works more like ink, so your brush won't run out of paint so fast. But I've got a lot of globs of paint from mixing, and so I'm going to rinse that off real quick and then wipe it off on my on my paper towel. Maybe I'll redip my bristles in a little water. And I'll just start right here. Light pressure, very, very light. You guys have probably learned by now what happens when you press too hard and what happens when you lighten your pressure. They can be thicker down here, so you can press harder down here if you want, but as you get up, you'll want to lighten that pressure. Got too much water in that. So you can see I'm not going all the way to the top yet, although I could, because this is a brand new brush. So they already are becoming nice and thin. But I know not everyone has brand new brushes right now. And I'll occasionally have them cross over each other, because that's what they would do in nature.
I just want to say something real quick about us leaving our nonprofit. One of the things that really was the guiding force in this was we were really needed to make palette knives out and buying Gogh were taking a back seat too often.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it did all the time, but we
Like in April, we can't do any Friday live streams. They have to be different days because we have a show that runs every single weekend in April.
and it's you know uh, in some regard it's like that's kind of our own fault, but at the same time,
We're yes people. I'm gonna make one go off the canvas here.
like people just kind of were starting to just expect us to be always available and not really ask.
And lecture us when we weren't.
Yeah, so we were like, this is not healthy and this is not benefiting our goals and ambitions and our dreams and what we like. We have a responsibility to you guys to.
Well, and art is our dream. That's what we want to do. We don't.
Yeah.
Theater is not our dream, although it's fun. Okay.
So anyway, I just wanted to tell you guys that be excited for us, be excited for you, because we think we're going to be able to do more, especially once we get the the garage set up to be able to film in.
Yeah.
It means we can drink all we want while we're teaching.
So you can see this is very basic. That's funny.
It's true.
No TT needed. The branches all kind of end at the same point. I sort of did that on purpose because I want to come in with my little brush and add to those. And when I say add, I mean not just extending them up further, but I'm going to mix a little more water with my paint. Not just extending them up further, but I could make one that branches off of here and goes up. Off of here that goes up. Or you could extend some of these up further. Oops. That has a split end. We'll just go with that. And the cool thing, and this is what I kept reminding people last week, is if you have a branch that just goes rogue and you just don't like it, it ends up funky and you think you've ruined it all, don't worry about that because you can put a very well-placed flower right on the top. So I'm just adding, basically, I like the idea of referring to it as split ends because that's basically what it is. We're splitting off of these, but we're always going up and out. So you're not going to be like going to the side or down at all. Up and out.
Did you mix brown in with your black, or did you just go straight
No,
black?
it's just a little water. Some of these can go off the top of the canvas. And any area, like adding all these little splits is what is going to make this much more full at the top. Now we do add some like little willow bud looking things, which will also make it more full. But you can always turn this upside down. If you struggle with painting up, which I definitely do, I'll sometimes just take the pressure off and turn it upside down and think of it like you're painting a forked lightning bolt.
Yeah, pulling down is always easier.
Way easier. And don't worry about crisscrossing. They do that in nature. I know it feels weird. Your brain maybe doesn't like that. But this is kind of a cool idea I just came up with on the fly because I've seen other paintings like this where you have all these, when you do these crisscrosses, you end up with all these little locked in shapes. You could do a painting where you fill these in with different colors so it has sort of a stained glass effect. Maybe I'll do that coming up. I've saved some paintings that have that effect and I love them. And it's just like by crisscrossing, that's how you create.
It'll make you jump.
Crisscross will make you paint.
Ooh. Wow. That's a good one.
I think that's such a cool idea, though, the stained glass look. I have several Pinterest boards, and I've pinned a couple.
You guys are not going to believe my background when you see this thing.
So I could make this more full if I wanted to. I feel like this is a good amount. It's not too much, and it's not too little. And what I'm going to do now is paint these little willow buds. So they're sort of tear-shaped. And I found there's a couple different ways you can do them. The ones I did in class the other day were a little bit messier, and I think it's just adrenaline and using a frayed brush. I remember the brush was really frayed. So there's a couple different ways you can do them. You can use your number 8 brush, the thin edge, and you can pick the spot and just drag it down until you meet the branch. This is where I need a little bit more of a frayed brush.
Don't be not like I don't. Yeah, never mind.
So these are, because my brush is so new, these are kind of almost thorn-like, which is cool. They still look good. It's not going to look Halloweenish because we have nice red flowers going in. But you can use your littlest brush instead, and you could draw a little rounded. They're literally like kind of upside down teardrops. They're nestled right into the branch itself. You can do some, maybe one on the end. I've also referred to them as like little watermelon seeds. That's what they remind me of. And you can have some down below. So here's the shape. It's like you're drawing like a half heart. See how it's like a half heart shape? And then I'll fill that in. We left our little zooming device at home again on accident. But I told Paul I really don't need to zoom too much with this painting, so yeah, I just sort of flip flop along what side I do, and you don't have to follow any particular pattern. Some just have a few, maybe some have a lot, some branches. But I love the look of that. It's so easy and simple and pretty and gives you a nice feeling.
We all need nice feelings.
This is a happy painting. You know, this is one I never got tired of teaching.
Really?
Yeah, so a lot of our paintings, we were doing at one point 9 classes a week and plus private parties. And there was the occasional painting that would be really popular and would be chosen for private parties constantly, or people begging for me to put it on the calendar. So there were a lot that I got super sick of teaching, but I never got tired of this one.
Well, this one's very calm.
Yeah, and I feel like it's one that you can really be creative with if you want to, with like, you know, adding different colors in the background.
Are you using your smallest brush to do that?
I am, because
I was using my number 4 and it was a little bulky.
Yeah, that's what was happening with my others.
I mean, it was working. It was just...
I think the brush has to be not brand new, but not too frayed, so it's like middle range, and I don't really have any brushes like that right now. Yeah, if you just remember, you're drawing like half a heart. And then at the top, like a watermelon seed or upside down little teardrop. And you don't have to put one on the top of each branch.
Oh, yes, you do.
I just had a nuclear meltdown right there. I'll be able to fix that. Flower. Actually, it's not too bad looking at it on camera. Water in the paint. Greta just got a inkwell pen or whatever they call those. What do they call those? The pens that are like for calligraphy? It's a calligraphy pen, right?
Yeah, I can't remember. There's a name for them.
Yeah, it's the type that you dip in a pot of ink, like old school style. It just came in this morning.
It's funny because I used to have one, and she was asking me about where it went, and I have no idea.
Yeah, it's somewhere in some art supplies. But I was trying it out too, because apparently it's supposed to be Really good for getting you prepped to do tattoo work, which is what Greta's doing. Starting. Oh, fountain pen. Thank you. That's what it is. Thank you so much, Marlene. Greta's starting tattoo school either this month or next month, which is super exciting. And the fountain pens are supposed to be really good for
It's so good because
getting
like
into the
we're so excited
feel
for
of
her
that.
because like the guys running the school are friends of ours and they are so supportive of her even though she's not even a student there yet.
Yeah, we call them her inkles instead of uncles, and they have known Greta since Greta was 9, and used to come over. I used to bring Greta over there after because our Vingo shop was right next door, and I'd teach a class, and Greta would come in with me a lot while I was teaching, and she she helped the bartender, so we always laughed. We're like, oh, little bar back at 9 years old, obviously not serving alcohol, but helping by just being there. And a lot of times when I got done teaching, the tattoo guys they'd be in their shop till midnight or 1 a.m. And I'd bring Greta over because one of the guys, who is her main inkle, had Funko Pops that were from every different anime and all kinds of things. So Greta would always want to go in and talk to him. His name's Brandon. And he did Greta's tattoo when Greta turned 18. So that was really fun.
You know what? It was really funny too. It's like one of the guys that worked there. All the guys that work at the shops, they're just like fully tatted. And Austin is who I'm thinking of. He had this big old mohawk and was very kind of like had this kind of like punk kind of vibe. And he was so excited because there was a hummingbird nest right outside their door.
Yep.
And he was just so excited to share that with.
He would round us all up. You have to come see. And he's like this guy that's fully tatted with this. Literally, his mohawk was probably 8 inches long.
And his girlfriend was a stripper. And just,
exotic dancer, Paul. Exotic dancer.
You're right. Yeah, exotic dancer. And just seemed like not at all the guy that would be super stoked about a hummingbird nest. But then you find out that these guys are just big softies on the inside, most of them. Actually, all the guys there.
Yeah, they were very nice. But the ones who've stuck around all these years I'm excited to have Greta tutor under them. Greta's going to be at a different shop, though. They opened a secondary shop after we moved out.
Yeah, but Davey's there.
Yeah.
Today was Hanam's birthday. Today or yesterday.
Liking this? It's following the vibe I want it to. This part's a little time consuming, definitely, but it's one of those, unless you're really struggling with the shape of these and it's frustrating you, it's one of those nice, relaxing things. I don't know if any of you guys have ever done Zentangle before. We did a Zentangle class at one of our spaces. And I had a certified Zentangle artist come in, which was very cool. And it was so relaxing. You just have these little white cards, and she shows you some design ideas and patterns and draw them on and then trace them with ink, and it was really neat.
You know, we still have all of Teresa's cards.
Yeah.
But I think they're in bad shape because they've been exposed
Water damage, yeah.
just to humidity. Not water.
So you can add a little budding down here if you want, if you feel like you need it, the occasional. I feel like I'm focusing on one side only.
You know, my neighbor, the mechanic's missing again.
Yeah, you told me.
Like, I have this neighbor who's a mechanic, and he takes vacations often, and he helped put a sign up, and he's like, I'll be back on March 10th. And I get his customers walk in, and they're like, hey.
Or his delivery drivers.
Yeah. And like,
That's really weird.
Have you heard from him? I'm like, nope.
That's really weird.
Well, last time it was because he was in the hospital with pneumonia in, like, Texas.
Hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I haven't heard from him. I don't have any idea.
Hmm.
Nice guy.
Yeah. So what I'll do now is I'm really buying a little bit of time for these to dry. Black, for whatever reason, is one of the fastest drying colors. Like all the different black paints I've used. So I assume it's just the pigment. I don't know. I could be just imagining it. But I'm going to come in and add any little stars in between. Obviously not on top of the moon, but close to the moon.
I always get a kick out of the neighbor. He's Mike the mechanic.
Motorhead Mike.
No, don't you remember Mike and the Mechanics?
Don't you remember Motorhead Mike?
No.
Do you remember the movie My Science Project?
Yeah, but not that well. It's been a while.
Yes, Mike and the Mechanics. But he needs more mechanics. Does he have any?
No, it's just him.
That's so interesting. Okay. I've got areas where I can see the black is totally dry, and then over here, it's like dry here, a little bit wet here. So I can start talking to you guys about the flowers. Let me move this out of the way, and let's have a look. So our flowers are, I designed them after just any kind of fruiting flower, like plum trees or cherry blossoms. They're bright red, which I don't know if there's any fruiting tree in nature that has bright red flowers, but in my whimsical little painting world, we can absolutely have bright red flowers. It's a nice pop against this very neutral background. But let me show you how I paint them. So I think of them as a 5-pointed star, the shape of them. So let me just draw a 5-pointed star. That is the shape of the flower. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to use the thin edge of my number 8 brush. For this part, I just do a quick little press and pull. Then these two, press and pull, press and pull. And then these two, press and pull, press and pull. So then you end up with a nice little flower. Now, some people really struggle with the idea of doing something so neat. And so I've told them, just paint little popcorn shapes or amoebas. And then when you go back later and we put a black center, people looking at your painting are going to know it's a flower. It doesn't have to be this perfect little shape. And sometimes you can do, you're looking at the flower from the side, so you might just have the top petal and then these two side ones. And then the stem that comes down, and imagine that's black. But yeah, you can get pretty quick at it. So the first one I pulled down, these ones I pull down, and these ones I pull from the center out just to make it easier. So whether you paint amoebas or popcorn puffs, blobs, or if you do actual flower shapes, it really doesn't matter. I did a little bit of both on this one I taught last weekend. You can see some of them are blobs. There's a blob. And then some are more flower shaped. Some have 3, 4 petals. You don't have to make every single one with 5 petals. And, I have some that are just floating around in, like, if you've ever had one of these trees in your yard, which we have 2 plum trees, they shed their flowers. Sometimes they shed just a petal. You see the little tiny dots?
You're
Those
throwing
are the
out
petals.
conflicting information here. You said they were just made up stuff.
Sometimes a whole flower will come off. I see that. I'll pick them up in the backyard. So think of that and just start placing them. Like, don't overthink where they go. Like, oh no, I've got all this stuff. Where am I going to put these? I'll just start with one right here and have it go over your branches. And then, like, here's a good spot to do the 3-petaled one. Ugh. Got, I don't know why I've got fuzzes in my paint today. Really strange. I've never had that so many.
Probably one of the dog grooming machines that came in. They got dog hair all over.
Damn it! And you can tuck them way down here. Like I said, don't overthink where they go. I try to place my brush down before my brain can go, stop, wait, contemplate this.
Collaborate and listen.
I found I paint way better when I do that, when I don't let my brain kick in to overthink. And I'm just like, you know what? I really like blue. This owl's going to have a blue beak. Very nice. Yeah, they do look like poppies. You're right, Sid. And that reminds me, I did a really fun painting, which I have thought about bringing to Palette Knives Out, because it's also from like 2013. And it was called Popping Poppies, and it had the same color background. Do you remember that one, Paul?
Yeah.
And it was so pretty and abstract, but also not, kind of like this is. A little bit whimsical.
A little more emphasis on the flowers themselves rather than...
Yeah. I don't think it had a moon.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So I will have to bring that one because it had turquoise poppies. Or I think the original had red, actually. I don't know, but I started doing them in turquoise and it was like, oh, this is it. This is it.
If this
is what they always wanted to be, turquoise.
Please let me know.
Why aren't there any turquoise flowers in nature?
There's the Himalayan blue poppy.
That's really rare. It's not quite turquoise. I bought your parents one year, I think, for Father's Day or something. And they could never get it.
I think it was Mother's Day for my mom.
They could never get it to bloom, which I was not surprised. We aren't in the Himalayas after all. Okay, so I'm going to, I do these pretty fast. You don't have to go as fast as I do. Just work away at your own pace. You can always pause the video or finish it up later. But here I'll do a couple that are in the background. Here's one that's fallen off. Maybe it's a three-petal guy. Here's one that's maybe the full star. And then I like to just do a little swipe with the thin edge corner of my brush and put little individual leaves. Now, if you want to do some pink ones in here, just mix white with your red. I should have mentioned that earlier. You can also make a really nice color with red, white, and a little yellow ochre.
So I'm just going to throw this out there. Just something when I'm doing this kind of flowers, or just flowers in general that are red.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like to go with a brighter pink to start with.
Yeah.
And then come in and add the red.
Aren't you fancy?
Well, and the reason is I feel like the red sometimes doesn't quite cover. It's a little bit translucent.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's good. It helps to make it pop a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, you're so far ahead of me.
Well, these are really fast. And I'm just going to let them dry for a minute or two. And let's talk about something stupid. I saw the trailer for Happy Gilmore 2.
Looked pretty stupid, but man, did it look good.
So that was one of our favorite movies.
Still.
Back, I guess that'd be like our first year of marriage, like 97 or something.
I think it came out in 96, so that was the year we got married, was 96, was it? Yeah, we got married in 96.
So it looks like from the movie trailer, he has not golfed in years for whatever reason.
But his statue is in there with Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer. And
so he went through the golf circuit for a while.
No, he's like one of the all-time greats.
Mm-hmm. So for whatever reason, he takes up golf again. And also wearing his hockey jersey.
And I think Shooter McGavin.
Slacky pants. Is Shooter McGavin?
I think Shooter's in it, yeah. You know that role with Shooter McGavin was actually written for Kevin Costner.
Oh, really?
And
Oh, maybe I did know that.
he turned it down because he was working on The Postman or something like that. But he had done Tin Cup, and Adam Sandler, when he wrote Happy Gilmore, had Kevin Costner in mind. And Kevin Costner was actually interested in the role, but it was he didn't have the time to do it. But in hindsight, I can't remember the name of the actor that played Shooter McGavin. He was perfect. You know, I saw this thing today.
I can't remember his name either.
Christopher something?
I don't remember.
I saw this thing. Somebody today was pointing out how all the girlfriends in Happy Gilmore and Adam Sandler's movies, their first names and last names start with V. Vicky Valancourt, Vanessa Bennett.
Valancourt. I wonder why he chose that. That's funny.
This guy was trying to imply it was some kind of grand conspiracy, but then it just never went anywhere. Victoria Vaughn.
So the movie is not coming to theaters, Happy Gilmore 2. It is coming to Netflix.
You know, I think Netflix pays Adam Sandler more than the movie studios.
Probably.
Because his last several productions.
The Murder Mystery or whatever. Murder Date. I can't remember what it's called.
Well, his last several movies have been directly on Netflix. What is it? The something 8. Remember the cowboy one? Where
yeah.
Like, and then
the Hateful Eight or something.
Hateful Eight, yeah, and then
he's pretty funny in some of the rom-coms. Like, some of his movies are so stupid I won't even watch them anymore. But there's I like Blended with Drew Barrymore. That one is so funny. And then the one with Jennifer Aniston, not the murder one. It's called what is it called? It's when she has to pretend to be his girlfriend or something. And she's really his assistant in the plastic surgery clinic he works. Somehow he always has like a high-end job. Maybe it's called Just Go With It.
Not always, because like Billy Madison, he didn't. Oh wait, no, Billy Madison, he did.
Oh, Sid says it's Christopher McDonald.
Yeah, Waterboy, he did not have a high-end job. Happy Gilmore, he did not have a high-end job.
Okay, so I'm gonna now take and add some black dots. Now we have to dot the center of the flowers. But I also added these fun little, I refer to them as like little soda bubbles rising up. You can see they follow along a stem or maybe at the top of a stem. It's just adding a fun filler and it looks really neat with it. So you can choose to leave it off if you want. If you want to be like that. But you can absolutely put it on. I do need to water down my black. It is such a thick glob. I didn't mean to put so much on my palette. I hate the squeeze bottles for the Daily Roundy, the big ones.
Oh yeah, they're
terrible.
They don't squeeze well. The opening's too big, and there was sand everywhere. No,
all right, so I made a little pool of black, and I'll just stamp a dot in the center of some of my flowers. I don't have to do every single one because obviously these three petal ones they don't need it. And if you forget one, that's okay. If you gift the painting to someone and you're at their house, just sneak with a little paintbrush and put it on there.
I was actually kind of disappointed that the Happy Gilmore 2 is not going to be in the theaters.
Really? You want to see it in the theater?
Well, I mean, no. Because all it's going to be is a bunch of middle-aged wannabe golfer dudes going to go see it. So me.
I don't know about that. I don't know who Adam Sandler's fan base is.
Middle-aged golfer dudes?
Probably.
I understand that he is one of the absolute nicest people in the world, is what I keep hearing.
Yeah.
I don't always love his sense of humor.
No. Same. I think some of his, like the Hubie Halloween and Waterboy are both, like, I kind of feel like it's fringing on, like, is this making fun of people?
Is it ableism?
Yeah, is it, like, making fun of people who are special needs? Or, like I feel like Waterboy, maybe he's autistic. And so.
But, of course, that was, like, at those times, it was not as... Yeah, this is a conversation I've tried to have with our Gen Z people at times, and it's like at that time it wasn't. it wasn't really considered taboo, and now it is. And a lot of times people look back on it and they go, "Hey, that wasn't right." But so many of the movies that were made in the 80s and 90s would never get made nowadays.
Yeah.
Like the Mel Brooks movies. I saw somebody who was like, "No, none of the Mel Brooks movies would ever get made today."
And I think it was 16 Candles we watched with Greta when Greta was like 15 or 16.
Oh yeah,
There
and the
was
whole like
something.
the girl being drunk and them like acting like, "Oh, it's okay to just take advantage of her because
Yeah,
she's drunk."
Greta was like, I don't like this.
I mean, he didn't take advantage of her when she was drunk, but the implication was he could have.
Yeah, there's interesting. Blazing Saddles. Blazing Saddles, is he in Blazing Saddles?
Who?
Or Christopher McDonald?
No, Mel Brooks.
I've never seen Blazing Saddles.
I mean,
Heard funny things. Okay, so I'm going to add the soda bubbles now. I just made another little pool of watered down black. And all I do is dip this in the handle of the brush in the black and just come up, and your handle is going to run out of paint. So these get smaller and smaller. I usually get about 6 or 7. But sometimes you can only, you could do just a row of like 3 or 4. And it doesn't really matter where you put them. Just kind of following along with the stem. And maybe occasionally one comes off the top. Just like, think about like flower bouquets. They have their big main flowers like the roses, and then sometimes they throw in other things like
baby's
breath is the filler. These are the filler, and then there's other little things they put in. I don't really care for baby's breath. I think it's kind of sweet and cute, but it's so overused.
It was.
Yeah.
My mom was a florist, so when Jenny,
she was good at it.
She was good at it, and but yeah, we're familiar with all of that stuff. There was also some kind of like evergreen that was like bear something. Can't remember what it's called.
Did you ever do any floral designs?
No, only for you.
Really? You made the ones for me?
Yeah, well, when I've bought flowers and arranged them for you before you get home. Doesn't happen very often, but
no,
it's
I meant
happened.
like when you worked at your mom's
No,
shop.
no, I was just a delivery driver.
You didn't give any design consultations?
No, I was a teenager. I was a 16-year-old kid.
Did you have to work on Valentine's Day?
I did, and I had a lady answer the door naked once when I was
what?
like... What?
Tell me about this. I think you've told me.
It was odd. I mean, it was like...
Tell us.
It was a Valentine's
story.
Day. It was a Valentine's Day. And she answered the door. She was wearing like a robe, but it was not closed. And it's like she had just gotten out of the shower or something. I think she was maybe expecting that it was her boyfriend surprising her on Valentine's Day or something. I don't know. It was kind of awkward. I was like, oh, okay. Alrighty then.
Did you get a big tip?
Didn't need one.
That's funny.
That was up at Jefferson Parkway. I was pretty embarrassed, but it was
an apartment complex?
Yeah, I was not the kind of kid who was like overly cocky about that kind of stuff.
So you didn't go brag to your friends? I bet you did.
Oh no, I did. I totally did. But I mean, I wasn't like the kind of guy who like the kind of kid who would try to like flirt or something. I've always been very professional.
Mrs. Robinson.
I've always been very professional in that regard. But she actually did give me a tip. I remember she had to go get a tip out of
She gave you a what?
A tip. From the kitchen.
Come into the kitchen.
No,
young man.
It's kind of funny though, because like I delivered flowers for a long time for my mom.
And then pizzas.
For a couple of years, and because people are like usually not expecting flowers, you don't get a lot of tips.
Oh, yeah, I bet, because they're like, what?
Yeah, but when you deliver pizza, you always get a tip. But when you deliver flowers, people they're not expecting a tip. I mean, they're not expecting something to come, and, it's just the way it goes.
Too funny. That was a good story. You have any weird pizza delivery stories?
No, not really.
I've read some before on Reddit where people like go to deliver a pizza, but it's like way out in nowhere, and like there's just weirdness.
Yeah, we
where
were
the people are like, you need to come inside.
we were in like Oswego. There was no weirdness.
So I am mixing up a color to sign my painting with, because believe it or not, we are to that point. Are you almost done?
Yeah.
And I have been choosing pink to sign it with every time I do this painting, just because it's cute. And
Hold on, I gotta
it's a
throw
nice
some.
color to add.
Gotta add some flyaways here.
Nice and dreamy. Flyaways, oh yeah. So the painting Paul was talking about, Umbrellas on a Bridge, is this exact palette, and
We did it around the same
it
time.
has kind of like this little arched bridge. It looks like it's maybe in Japan.
Yeah, I was inspired. There was a picture I had seen of this canyon in China, actually, or it might have been Thailand. I can't remember which, but it was either Thailand or I think it was Thailand, and it was a couple of Buddhist monks who were crossing this it's a pretty deep ravine that the bridge crossed, and they both had these bright red umbrellas. And so I just like painted something very similar. It wasn't exactly the same. And
Nice.
it's about a lot of it's really similar to this painting in that where a lot of the interest in it comes from that contrast of that bright pop of white against something very neutral.
Yeah, I like that. Sid and Marlene, you guys are closing up the stream with us. You're the only two left. We have found, though, with the being members only and the lives, not everybody tunes in live. Just my diehards. Thank you guys so much.
We might have to do like one public one a month or something too.
Yeah, and then Kim ended up canceling her membership because Kim Saltmarsh, because she was really behind on paintings. And I think like ever since her husband retired, they've been doing a lot of stuff, a lot of traveling. So maybe she'll be back sometime. Here we go. There's Paul's, and yes, we definitely see. We definitely see where Christ could be coming through those clouds, or
yeah,
some
I
angel.
mean, it's like it's just like almost like Monty
Thank you,
Python
Marlene,
like,
instead.
like almost Monty Python like.
Yes. Yeah, totally. Oh my gosh, I can picture it. There's the God that's like got his
He's just got his fingers coming through the clouds and just his head. So what I was thinking of is I was thinking about this painting, and I was thinking, how do I, and I just want to throw this out there because I'm not like trying to be like, oh, I'm trying to make it one up or whatever. But
oh, you always are.
You always accuse me of that, but that's not what I'm doing. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to look at a way of like, how can I take this painting and make it feel
better
like,
than Jenny's.
No, make these rings and stuff, the rings and stuff feel like they make some kind of sense from a more traditional standpoint.
Yeah.
And so to me, what I'm looking at it is, rather than doing the stars, I'm looking at it, I'm saying, okay, well, clouds would be a nice way of doing some rings. I love clouds.
Well, and like your style's so different from mine, I wouldn't expect you to do something whimsical like that.
I'm actually pretty happy with my flowers.
Happy little flowers.
They are messy and sloppy, and
they're little. I like them.
Yeah.
Little itty bitty. So there you go. You can.
Oh, you notice
do it.
I put one over there.
Yep. You can do it Paul style or some combination of both.
You might not be able to do it my style without seeing the process.
Yeah. Yeah, those clouds, those take some work.
They don't really, but it's...
For you.
No, well, let me just put it this way. That type of painting is something that it's not harder to do, but it's you have to put your brain has to be in the right process.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Wow, so this was, how long did we stream for? An hour and 22 minutes. Not
Pretty
bad.
good.
And then we have the first 5 minutes being dumb and thinking you guys can hear us, but we have no idea because our microphones are sitting on the desk. So we should edit that out.
You know, we are us. People are used to our little technical glitches at the beginning. It's no biggie. So, all right, let's bring it back to us. Oh.
Oh, you've got the camera thing again.
I don't know. It should be on.
It's not.
Let's see here.
Yeah, it keeps the camera that shows us keeps dying by the end of the stream.
Yeah, but it had battery.
It's all right.
I mean, I could fix it, but let's not. So,
I think our live stream is next week, scheduled Friday.
Is it Thursday or Friday?
It should be Friday. Let me grab my phone and see real quick.
I think you're right. We do have one in, actually probably 2 in April. Both of ours in April will probably have to be on Thursday night.
Yeah, let's see. Let me go out to next Friday. I have it written on my calendar for next Friday, so I'm just looking at my... Yeah, we should be able to do that next Friday.
We're going to be busy with, come back to the 5 and dime, Jimmy Dean, Jimmy Dean.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you guys in a week with Paul's Umbrellas on a Bridge. He should maybe complete that over the weekend or something, maybe?
Probably won't be over the weekend. It'll probably be during the week while I'm at here.
Why, are you planning on golfing?
No. I just got stuff to do.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll post it, and we'll get a link put up, and plan on painting together next Friday. And if you guys finish these and you want to post them on our Facebook page, love it when you do that, but also understand if you don't want to.
Yeah.
You guys always do good, though.
So.
All right.
I bid you adieu.
Adieu. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you,
everybody. Love you so much. See you next week. Bye.
Woo, 2 people.